Hi, guys. Welcome to a new session of the YouTube series, The Underrated Heartache, a series where we talk only and only about our feelings. This is Joyeta Moietree, and today we have with us Wingadim Leviosa. You must be wondering, who is Wingadim Leviosa? Well, let me tell you more about her. She's someone who dreams to fly high up in the sky, metaphorically, of course. Well, let's welcome our Harry Potter and Raimashan fan, Lamia Rahman Roza. Lamia Apu, welcome to my
Hello,
show,
Joyita.
The Underrated Heartache.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's like an honor, and I'm very flattered. Like the introduction part, it was like, I was like, she's got something. You're a very charismatic, Joyita, by the way. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for having
Thank
me
you.
here.
Thank you. Okay, so would you like to introduce yourself to my audience here?
All right, sure. So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. So, I'm Lamia Rahman Roza, and currently I have just passed my grade 12, and I'm applying for universities, which is like very pressurizing, but I hope I'll make through this crucial journey. And yeah, this is me, someone who's very spiritual and someone who thinks of herself as a healer. And yeah, this is it. I guess I'm done with my introduction. It's when you say something about yourself, I just don't want to sound, like even a little bit of narcissistic. So yeah,
Yeah,
let's start.
this happens with me too, that I can't introduce myself in the correct words. Yeah.
I know, right? I get that feeling.
Yeah, but she in this time did not introduce herself in the correct words because she's not just a student who is just applying for her universities and stuff. She has different identities, especially in the field of public speaking. So Lamia Apu has attended countless public speaking competitions and seminars, both in national and international level. And of course, she has nailed each of them, acquiring a bunch of awards. And however, she also does some podcasts on her Facebook and Instagram. I will give the link of her Facebook and Instagram in the description box below so that you can also check them out. But there is one special identity of her for which I got to know her, but I'll reveal that later at the end of today's episode. So,
Sure.
Apu, should we jump into our feelings talk now?
Yes, I think it's high time we jump into our, the topic of where we get to express ourselves or the feelings that are buried deep within and which sort of made us numb in the earlier days. So, yes, feelings, very
So,
spicy, very crucial. Yes.
okay, so my first very question to you will be, what is your topic of feeling or story that you're going to share? And also, why did you choose that specific topic to share with my
All
audience
right.
today?
Um, all right. Joita, by the way, I just realized I am so, like impromptu. Anyways, um, when you told me about your series, which is like the underrated heartache, so we often come up with heartaches like breakups or or familial issues. So yes, I think we should never demean any problem. I think every feeling um, is important because feelings are important, and I am naturally an empath. So the topic which I chose today to talk about is, I think, something that we do not focus a lot, and which kind of shape, like that shaped my childhood, like the person I am right now. It's because of that. So the topic I chose today is a little bit different, and that is childhood bullies. And the horrific trauma I had to go through. So, yes, I chose the topic because that thing, or the bullying, I wasn't a kind of person who usually used to get bullied, but yes, there were specific incidents that, made me choose this topic today because that shaped me as a person. So, yeah, today's topic is all about childhood bullies.
Well, Apu, I'm very excited because, yes, as you said, I think the name of this show is The Underrated Heartache. And I think breakups are never underrated. No one get me wrong, they are not
True.
underrated. They are overrated all the
True.
time. So I think
All the
Underrated
time.
Heartache is about this small little incident that really keeps alive in our mind for a very long time.
True.
And I'm very excited to listen to your story because I hope I'll relate it because I also have gone through bullying incidents. So yes, let's get started with your story.
Let's get started. All right. So, my first story, I would call it, that envious enigma. All right. So, what happened in my first story was, I used to be very naive, Joita. I mean, the person I am right now is like very bold, or I know my boundaries or limits, or where I should take a stand. But when I was younger, when I was 15, 16, I used to be very naive. I used to be someone who's very, I haven't seen the cruelties of life, or I didn't know anything about that. So I guess it comes from certain situations. So there's this one incident that that happened, and that made me think about myself, the things I really need to change. And that incident was, I remember I was into a lot of extracurriculars, and I always had this passion for doing stuff in my earlier high school days. And so one incident that happened with me was, Joy, I'll be honest, it's not like I'm a perfect person. I'm not flawless either. I mean, if you ask me, then Apu, who's perfect? I think perfection is a myth. We all are imperfectly perfect, and with all of our flaws. And when we are young, we do not take these things into consideration. So I had so many things on my plate back then. So yes, before telling my story, I didn't defend myself. Yes, I was not flawless either. So there was this one incident where I was collecting funds, from an organization to help the kids who are, underprivileged, who are basically less privileged. And something happened, a high school clash or whatever you call it. And then and then one of my bully called that organization and told them, this money, it's entirely fraud. I was doing something for the less privileged kids, and I actually took a lot of money, which is like an amount of 60K or something, for the certificates, for the souvenirs, for the Milad session, I mean, where we will be providing them foods and stuff. So that happened. I mean, the food wasn't really a necessity because we were going to give them dinner anyways. I mean, especially the lunch part, but I was thinking of those kids, those who are going to attend our ceremony. So I had to even spend more from, my pocket as well. So something bad really happened. And then the organization were like, they were calling me and hours after. So is this, I mean, we feel like the money is, that money you're taking, it's illegal. We got a phone call and they're telling us this, blah, blah, blah. I was traumatized. I was 16. I was looking at my ceiling, and then I was like, you're done. You're doomed, Lamia Rahman Roza. You're dead. I mean, you should think of another alternative, because you won't be able to give this money to them. Like, this is not possible. So, and I didn't even you know shared this incident with my dad, because my dad's gonna be like, why would you take so much money? Because, well, in those moments, our parents were more into like studies and studies. So I was doing something other than my studies, and I had a very bad grade time back then. So yes, that happened. So one of my bully did this thing, and I hope and I think that that person is very sorted right now. But yeah, that happened, and that really, I was traumatized for a year. I was very depressed, and I didn't know back then what depression feels like. So that happened. Like, you understand, like you're doing something for the people who are suffering, and then you get, I mean, you become so scandalous. So yeah, I think that is one of my incident.
Yeah,
Very
I
heart
think
wrenching.
very scary because I mean you were doing it, and I think I can relate because when I organize something, it's not just that initiative, but a lot of dream is surrounded around it. We have so many dreams, so many
True, true.
expectations, so many, and suddenly one incident and it just messes up the entire thing. So
Entire thing.
yeah, I
And
mean it's
Joyita,
very scary.
especially that time I was going through a lot. I mean, I was very much into ECAs, and like I was becoming a teen, and everything was like nothing was in order, and everything everything it was like a very messed up situation, and that time it happened. So I don't know what to say. I mean, I was speechless. Like, how can a person, like, I mean, do that? I mean, what's the personal issue here? So I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out, and now I believe that we shouldn't we should never ask for closures, because it's fine. We let things go. We let things pass.
So how did, like,
Yeah.
did you organize that thing, or that was messed up?
No, Joita, I could never organize that thing. That was a failed project. The project, actually, I think I can share the name. The project's name was Million Voices. I wanted to do something for the less privileged kids, which never happened because this happened. But after
Well,
that, I had a
I am
lot
very
of successful
excited for that
projects.
project. I hope you can implement it someday. I am in to help you
Someday.
with whatever I
So
mean I can with my abilities.
definitely, definitely counting you in. Absolutely. Big yes.
Yeah, okay. So yes, I think Apu, this is a very scary incident of underrated heartache. And also the thing you said that most of the times parents usually they pressure us in the academic fields, and I'm not saying there is anything wrong. I'm not judging parents because they are also right from their point of view. But thing is sometimes, in this bad moment, if you could share it with your parents, maybe you could feel better, right?
True, true. Oh, but I gotta share this. I had some amazing friends back then, Joita. The 60K loss that I went through. I was crying my heart out. I was like, I need this help from you guys. I'm shattered. I can never tell this to my parents. They're gonna kill me. I didn't know my parents back then. I mean, they could be so supportive, but all my friends, they were like, don't worry, we're gonna save 10K, 10K, and six of us, it's gonna be 60K. Don't you worry. And things happen, your Amani Apu, she has been a huge support back then. And yes, and then my mom and dad, I was like, I'm ready to confront them, and I'm like, guys, I need to have, like a heart to heart conversation with you guys. And they're like, yeah, sure. What happened? They're probably thinking something, oh my God, I mean, what did I do? Like, did I fail or anything like that? So I'm like, no. And the heart to heart conversation is, I am in debt. I need 60K ASAP. And my dad was like, what did you do? I mean, they were all so shocked. And I was like, this happened. And then I was crying, and my dad, he's such an empath. He was crying, and he was like, why didn't you tell me before? I mean, Ma, I could have helped you. When it's so wrong of you to think that I wouldn't help you. Obviously I would. But and that day I realized that my dad had been a huge support system. My mumsy is nice, but my dad is unbeatable. He's an amazing person. He's just like me. So yes, he
Yeah,
helped me through that
that is also
darkest
a
days.
realization from someone who have experienced our time that sometimes we think, how can we talk to our parents? But maybe it might
So
turn out to be easy when
you
we
should
finally talk, right? Yeah.
finally talk. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Apu, should we move into your next story? Oh,
Sure.
yeah. Okay,
All right.
let's
So,
hear of the next story. Your
all
stories are
right.
fun, pretty fun.
my my stories are like so messed up. People would this happened with a high school kid. She was 16, and I mean, bullies, and the bullies are creative too. I mean, interesting. So yeah, and my second story is it's pretty. I guess I wouldn't say it as a very uncommon story. I guess a lot of teens go through this. So I was in all girls school, like one campus, all girls, no mercy kind of thing. So what happened was sometimes you'll see that people judge and question our choices. For example, when it comes to clothing, for example, if you're into if you like wearing something that is very catchy, and that is something very, dash of colors, pop of colors, you might love it. This is your personal aura. And then there are other group of people who likes being very goth and punk. There are different sorts of people with whom we study in a high school. So I wasn't like this. I'm a very spiritual person now, very floral. White is my soul color. But back then, I used to be a very colorful soul, Joita. So I used to wear this kind of, sometimes I used to wear this I used to like the very catchy, pop of colors. It's very dash pink and stuff like that colors. So I was often being judged, like, why is she wearing clothes like this? Why can't she just move into some kameez and stuff like that? The typical, like the Bengali. I get it. I mean, I think traditional outfits are amazing. They look very good, but it's your personal choice, whatever you want to wear, right? So yes, there were certain bullies who always, no matter whatever you do in life, Joita, there will always be a bunch of people. They will hate you for no good reason. I mean, they will always have something to talk about. Oh my God, what is she wearing? Oh my God, why is she talking like this? So yes, that happened. I never, now I know that I'm a very spiritual person. I like crystals. I like exploring these things. I am very, what can I say? I connect with nature, very pagan, but back then I didn't know what this phase is, very hippie. So I didn't know that. So everyone was like, why is she so much into stones and crystals? I mean, she could just wear something really basic. She would look good in that. So every single time I had to go through comments like this, and with a bunch of mean girls. So that is something, that bothered me a lot for a lot of them. I mean, anything that I personally like this is my choice. I want to wear this. I feel good in this. I feel powerful. I feel like Thanos. I feel invincible. So why not? But when I see that there are certain, mean girls, part three, the high school bullies coming and rushing to and friend, always judging each other. So that triggered me. So this is my second story. Whereas I always used to look myself in the mirror, and before going to school or any other functions, I'm like, okay, will I be judged? Please tell me, will I be judged? I used to look myself in the mirror. I remember, I mean, those are the times. Now I'm like feeling all, funny, like that happened. But I was a kid back then, Joita. So those are the things, like when you constantly feel insecure about yourself, when you feel, because I wasn't like this before. I'm like a lioness right now. I really don't give 2 cents what people think about me. But back then, obviously that triggered me. I always used to look, at myself in the mirror, and I'm like, all right. And then I used to step, and I'm like, are they looking at me, or are they judging me? So yes, that was a phase I had to go through. I had to overcome. Now everyone's like, they're always here, respects me. And because, the only reason is because I'm confident and I love myself more than any other comments, more than any other thing that, I mean, I really don't let circumstances influence me right now. I love myself more than anything and anyone. So I guess, yeah, I wish I understood that thing before and just not cry looking at myself in the mirror and be like, will I be judged? So yeah, that is another incident.
Well, I think, from this specific story, there is so much to learn because if I speak about my life, I
Mm-hmm.
think the time about you're speaking right now, I am at that age. I'm just 15, 16 in that
Yes.
age phase. But back when I remember when I was like 10 or 11 years old, when I was in grade four, so this I used to have that very inferiority complex that maybe the choice of music that my friends are having, those are better than mine, right? Choice of dress ups, choice of
Right.
fashion, choice of movies,
Fashion.
everything they're having, they are better than me, right? And I used to have that so much underrated heartache. I used to feel I am up to no good. i I am just not good enough. I can never be good enough like them. Right. But I think this change even changed me, that I realize now that if we are confident about ourselves, if I am confident about ourselves, and if I can love myself the way I am, doesn't matter if my hair is long, if my hair is short, if I am listening to Western music or classical music, it doesn't matter. It's just
It doesn't
loving
matter.
ourselves the way we are. I mean, then everything changes. Everyone just comes up to you and say, wow, you're so cool. That time the word
Yeah,
changes to cool.
true, true. And Joyita, I'll tell this, like, for all the people who are viewing us right now, for all of your audiences and the people who will be watching this today, no one, I repeat, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. That should be the motto of your life. Yes, if you're a spiritual being, go for it. If you like dash of colors, pop of colors, go for it. If you love BTS, go for it. If you love Harry Styles, go for it. If you love classical, go for it. If you love metal, or go for it. If you're not an anime person, it's perfectly fine. If you are an anime person, it's perfectly fine as well. If you love Leonardo DiCaprio over Johnny Depp, it's fine too. It's perfectly fine. Do not let anyone question your choices. Do not let anyone make you feel inferior. And yes, I think that's our amazing teens should know.
Yes,
Yes,
and
that's it.
claps for that amazing performance. Very cool. It was like
Thank you.
that sudden motivation jumping up to me through the screen.
Thank
Right.
you so much, Joyita. And I'm really inspired, like the things you have just mentioned right now, about the music taste and all. So I
Yes.
could relate. I'm like, yeah, Joyita, I remember that phase. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So your stories are getting amazing and amazing and amazing. I don't know if there is any word as amazer or amazest. So let's just say it's just getting amazing and amazing. But do you have more stories to share with us?
Yes, I do have more stories, and this is like now. I am 20 years old right now, and friendships and bullying, you know, the definitions, like, they have changed. Like when I was in high school, the bullies, used to be like this, very dramatic, very very much into conspiracy and plotting and planning and playing the ultimate mean girl card or whatever like that. But now things have changed. Now things are like prioritization. It's somewhat like, it's like they don't um, understand you. This kind of bullies, like, these are a newer and evolved form of bullies. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, this is something like where these people, they'll always try to control you or dominate you or tell you that do this, do that, when it comes to relationships or anything like that. Like, you'll be under me, do this for me, do that for me. But I think these bullies are, they're not necessarily bullies, Joita, but these are the bunch of people who wouldn't understand you. If you claim yourself as someone's friend, try to understand your friend, try to be grateful, because we all have problems in our lives. So the current thing that I'm facing right now, I'll be honest with you, Joita, because um, we shouldn't be dishonest here, because your show makes me even more raw and real, and the kind of sentimental spiritual healer that I am. So yes, the kind of problems I go through right now, Joita, is like, um, people tell me to prioritize one certain, how do I explain this to you, like one person. But it's not possible, because I have my family, I have my job, my career, so I can't be there for everyone. So I am an absent friend, right? Because I can't be present for everyone, but I try to understand everyone. So I want these people to understand me. So what happens is, um, they get very emotional, and they start questioning the entire concept of friendship. Like, you don't stay there, like, you don't stay for like one day with them, or you don't listen to their rants for like one day, and then they will like start acting very ungrateful, and they will start questioning the friendship, and they will always be like, oh, you never did this for me, you were never there for me, but all this time you were always there for them. But that hurts the most, because when you're literally there for that person like almost 24/7, listening to them, and just because of one day you couldn't be there for them. And I might not show, but I'll be honest to the Joy that I still cry. I am still a crybaby, and yes, no matter how bold or this boss vibe I give, but I am still this sentimental soul, and I get very triggered. These things do influence me still. And so I think that is something that needs to be changed. People need to be more understanding and more grateful. So what I figure out from these people are that they're selfish, and these people, they don't recognize your value, and they don't really appreciate whatever you did for them in the earlier days. Rather, they're always questioning the friendship in the first place. So that is my another story. That is that's what I'm facing currently, because I have to put a lot of effort elsewhere as well. The job, the studies, the career, the family. I'm going through a lot of problems. Obviously, everyone goes through a lot of problems in their lifespan. So I wish people were a little bit, understanding and grateful. So yeah, that is it, Joita.
Yeah, I mean, when you said about the crybaby thing, I could relate so much because I have this very contrasting thing that people who see me, who doesn't know me personally, they were like, we thought you're very strong. I mean, I give that strong sort of vibe that yes, nothing can affect me. But I think crying does not make me immature. Crying does not make me
True.
weak.
True.
Just because, yes, I can be equally strong if someone is coming to do something to me. If someone is just hurting me, I can be strong. I can handle it for myself, but I can also cry. And I think crying is just letting go our emotions. So it's okay. It's totally okay to
Exactly. Like
cry.
cry it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
healing.
Yeah,
Joita, healing happens by feeling. So
yeah.
yeah, I think
And
feel your emotions.
yes, and I think a lot of during this teenage, especially, I think it's very toxic if we are just crying inside but not letting it go, not crying. It's very toxic for
True.
us. Yeah, the things and the situation become more complicated because I remember back when I was in maybe in grade 5 or grade 6, I was going through this experience of bullying. So I felt that
Mhm.
because I am speaking up, I am strong and I'm speaking up, it means I have to be strong in every field. And I felt that because I'm strong, I cannot cry. So there were a lot of situations when I think that it would be better, it would be much more healthy for me if I would just cry my heart out rather than suppressing it inside me, thinking that, oh
True,
yeah,
true.
it's making me so strong, I don't cry. But it's very toxic
No,
for
it
my
doesn't.
mind, right?
It's very
Yes,
toxic.
it's
True,
very
true,
toxic.
true.
So it's totally okay. And about friendship, I think more or less, I think a lot of audience can relate because even I could relate to friendship. More or less everyone, we go through toxic friendship, and this heart, the sadness we get from friendship. Yes, so yes, I'm sure audience will relate to this a lot. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but Joita, the kind of friends, the bunch of friends I have right now, not to flex, but I think amazing people, absolutely, and super, because I really need to give them a tribute, because they'll be watching as well. Yes, guys, you guys are the best. Thank you for entering into my life and making life less complicated. So yes, I owe them a
Hey,
lot. They're
I
amazing
feel
bunch of
if
friends.
your friends are good, you should flex about it. My friends are good, I'm
Yes.
flexing. What's the big deal in it?
Was a big, I mean, the kind of friends I have right now, they're amazing. I have like two squads, and they're like so cool. So yes, absolute. They're very good at heart. So yes,
Yeah, I
definitely.
am happy for you that you have found some bunch of people, even through this toxic friendship and emotions, that who
Yes,
are making you feel
yes.
better, right? Yes.
Joita, these people, they have been my friends for ages, like the friends I have right now. And we never had any argument. I mean, I heard, friends fight, but no, we never had any fight, any arguments. So, yes, I I did cut off all those toxic people to get them. Otherwise, I would have never met this bunch of amazing people. So yes.
Okay, this is also a very important learning, at least for me, because I think sometimes what I used to feel even a year ago when I started YouTube,
Mhm.
I used to feel that these people are in my life and they have to be in my life no matter how toxic they are. I wouldn't even realize that this is toxic for me. I felt, how can
True
I
that.
just cut them off from my life? I just have to continue my relationship for them with them all the time. But when it is toxic for us, I think it's important to cut it off, right?
True, true, true.
For our,
Absolutely. With that being said, Joyita, I remember that reminded me of something, another story.
wow,
By the
another
way,
story. Let's hear
yeah,
it out.
yeah. The story is I'll just keep it minimalistic. And so that is whenever you start a new project, it might be a business or starting your own YouTube channel or your podcast or anything, there will be certain bullies who will do whatever they feel like behind the anonymity of whatever the web offers. They will never appreciate you. They'll always be like, why are you doing this? You shouldn't have done that. I mean, you look so ugh. I can't even bear with that. Like you need to change this, that, don't do this, don't do that. They're always hating on you. So these are the certain group of people. They actually need grooming, because come on, hype someone up if they're doing something really cool and really fascinating. um Uplift them. But these are the people who will never uplift, rather they always bring them down. So I do not like those kind of bullies who always demeans others, and who are very less appreciative. So yes,
Wow.
these bullies really need
This is so
self grooming.
interesting, right? I mean, our lives are so different. Lamia Apu's life is so different. My life is so different. The audience, their lives are so different. But yet, when we are talking about our feelings, it feels like this is just our one single life. Our stories are so same, but yet so different, right?
Yes, it feels
Yes.
like everything is connected in this universe, and we are all in this. It's like a simulation. We are all here. Like same incidents are, they're
Repeating.
happening for ages. Yes, and they're
Yeah,
repeating,
and the
intertwined,
negative comment
intertwined.
you said about like podcast or
Uh
something.
huh. Uh
Yeah,
huh.
she has her own podcast, by the way. So yes, even I have got experienced it that when I did YouTuber and everything, of course I heard a lot of negative comments coming up from my school seniors, classmates, juniors, everyone. But there is just one fun thing that is in one of my video. I remember it was probably for Mother's Day. I sang with my mom a song and I uploaded on YouTube. So I don't know, some random person came up and wrote very bad. And the reply I gave to the person was love for watching. I love you that you watch. Thank you.
True, true. Oh, Joita, let me tell you something very interesting. If someone hates you and still stalk your posts and literally stalk you everywhere, girl, they're your fans. Honestly.
Yep. I can relate to it. Okay. Yes. So any more stories to
Yeah.
share with me or my show or my show?
Um, I guess these are my stories, and these are the kind of stories that
Yeah.
keeps on repeating. And about the senior thing you mentioned, there are certain seniors who are always into bullying. They always think they can establish their politics of hegemony. They're always very supreme. They're supremely supreme, and they're this powerful bunch of people who can do whatever they want to with these little juniors. But they're so wrong, because you need to be like a friend. So yes, I did go through some of those. I mean, I always, Joita, I'll be honest with you. So there's this one story where I was massively bullied by one of my senior. So I was a kid, and that senior of mine took away my phone just to check with people I text. Like that was like an invasion of privacy, girl. But I was so little that I did not understand like what she was. I mean, she was young too, but that's bullying as well. That was invading someone's privacy. So that happened to me in my earlier school days, and until this date I would have never understood that that was a form of bullying. but now I do. So yeah, that made me so traumatized. Like, why would she do that? And then she was telling me, oh, so these are the people with whom you're texting or you're doing this, whatever. Oh, so this is your search history. Okay, so you see how to be a topper, how to grab all this. I'm like, oh my god, she's checking all my searches. What is she trying to prove? What is happening? I did not understand. I was all like sentimental, and I was like, I didn't know what to do back then. But now, if someone, if they're like, give me your
Well,
phone, I'm gonna
let
tell
me
you,
tell
no,
you,
hell no.
you were very innocent. If someone does that to me,
Very innocent.
I would be,
I was.
let's not talk about it.
That's the thing I'm telling you, Joyita. I was very, very innocent. I was so naive. I was so innocent. I was actually a kid, but yes, thank God life happened to me. Thank God these bullies. I mean, I won't say that they happened. They were the darkest days of my life, yeah, yeah, that made me stronger. That made me understand reality. Now I'm prepared for life. So yes, this is it.
So, Apu, I think the bunch of stories you shared, I think from all of them, we have something to take into ourselves. At least I can relate so much. And there instantly I can realize so many things. And when you were saying maybe different stories are coming up, but I think everyone is having some stories popping up in their mind. Maybe
Some
the
stories
stories are
popping up.
different,
Yeah.
but some stories are popping up. And there are so many realizations building up inside me. So since you have experienced all this thing, um, how do you think you overcame all these bullying incidents, or is there any mechanism that you followed or believed in your heart that just changed you completely into this strong person today?
All right, Joyita. Now, I would be lying if I told you that I changed overnight. No, no, sorry, honey, but it did not happen overnight. I mean, days and years of practice and trauma and the setbacks I had to go through. So that made me a strong person. So my biggest coping mechanism was, um, there were two things. Number one, I could never stand up for myself. And number two was, I always used to give people multiple chances. And number three, I did not love myself enough, um, to understand what was happening wrong with me. Now, when I understood these three things, that whenever something wrong happens with me, whenever somebody is actually bullying me, or I see it coming as a form of disrespect, now I stand up for myself. I am very bold, and I pinpoint them, whatever they're telling me or whatever they're forcing me to change about myself. I'm never going to do that, because I love myself. And yes, no, that doesn't mean that I would never change my toxic traits. I obviously would. I would recognize my toxic, because I'm not perfect. Joyita, I would also be lying if I said that, oh, I am this perfect beautiful girl who has no flaws. I have flaws too. So I changed them, and I started, this thing like standing up for myself. Second, I love myself a lot. I love the way I walk, I love the way I talk, I love the way I wear things. So this is me. I am, powerful, I'm invincible, and I'm always into positive affirmations. And and I think this should be everyone's coping mechanism, that you are you, and that is your power. And yeah, as I said earlier, that no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. And number three is, yes, stop um justifying like everything. Stop giving people multiple chances. Whenever you notice a red flag, like, stop right there. Understand your worth, because you're way beautiful, you're gorgeous. Because I realized it after, like, on like, things happened, and then I changed. So yes, I'm powerful, I'm invincible, I'm beautiful, and that is it. And I am not entertaining anyone who's like bad to me, like who's not treating me right. So whenever these things happened to me, I changed. I rose like a phoenix, and I broke all the ceilings. And that's the day I started believing that I want to fly high up in the sky, because I am the exalted.
Yeah,
That
and
is
be
it,
winged and
Joyita.
leviosa.
That's the thing from Harry Potter. Yeah, Wingardium Leviosa.
Leviosa.
Very magical, very spiritual. Oh, and one thing that helped me through this entire journey was I became very spiritual. I love crystals. I'm a crystal mom. Those things give me healing power. I always meditate. I'm very much into positive affirmations and meditation. I'm always watching these videos on YouTube and calming myself. I'm learning the art of patience and to be more resilient with life. So yes, that is another coping mechanism, Joyta. So
Well,
yeah.
I think the way you say that the mechanism you built in yourself over the years to cope up the things, I think I am having certain realization in myself that there is a limit to it. And after that limit, if someone is toxic is in our life, it's important to get out of that thing, right? And
True.
I don't, this is the
So
realization
true.
I have from listening to your realizations, that I don't want to change myself for others. I will only and only change myself for self grooming, for self development, but not for others. Right. And yes, I
Exactly.
love
Exactly.
myself. Let us all love ourselves.
Let us all love
Yeah.
ourselves. And yes, Joyita, you're beautiful. And this is an amazing initiative that you took by creating this series called Underrated Heartache. Absolutely a fab series. So yes,
Yeah. I was about to ask
you should
her,
be so proud of
ask her.
yourself.
Yeah, I was about to
Oh,
ask her that what is your experience? What is your experience in this show with me? Now she said it. Now I was thinking, should I ask her? Or the audience will think, oh, guest audience
that
said how
happens.
she's feeling. And Joyita is asking
That
again.
happens. That happens so impromptu, right? I mean, oh, you were actually supposed to ask me. Oh no,
Okay.
but see, I
So
loved it so much that I eventually said it.
formally, how was your experience? How did you feel being on the show and being with me?
Um, Joyita, honestly speaking, I feel light. I mean, no one before, you know, before this knew that these are the things that happen with me. And no one had any hunch about this. But now I feel very relaxed and good that I actually could share, some of the experiences that shaped me via your series. So it was a very wholesome experience. Loved it.
That is one of the biggest things that I've heard. It's taking me time, it's taking time to take it in that someone is feeling lighter after they're sharing stuff in the underrated heartache, and they're just feeling better now. So it's so much good for me. Well, yes, let me just process it in my mind. But before that, let me tell you the special identity by which I know Lamia Apu. So last year during the
Mm.
lockdown, my audience knows, YouTube audience knows that I participated in the Pro Linguist that was organized by English Olympiad. And luckily, for some reason, I don't know how, I was the winner in the segment of poem recitation. So about speaking of recitation and English Olympiad, I think there was this one person who bonded English Olympiad with me. That is Amani Hasnatapu. She is the regional secretariat of
Special
English
tribute.
Olympiad. Yes, and she
Absolutely.
is the one who introduced English Olympiad to me. And not only that, she supported me in everything I did with my channel, with my vlog. Then, when I organized an online magazine last year in November 2020, I organized an online magazine. She supported me there also. And now in Underrated Heartache, she supported me here also. Now, you may ask how. Well, Amani Hasnatapu introduced Lamia Apu to me. So,
Yeah, she's an
yes,
amazing soul.
yes, she is. She's totally. And speaking of Lamia Apu and English Olympiad, Lamia Apu is the head of branding of English Olympiad. Wow, so many
Yes.
talented people right
So
here.
it is,
Yes. So thank
the
you,
world
Lamia
is
Apu.
round.
Thank you, Lamia
Thank
Apu,
you
for
so much,
being on my
Joyita,
show.
for having me on your show. It really means a lot. I'm very flattered, very honored. And yes, it felt really light
Yeah,
coming here.
yeah. And let me also thank you. Thank you so much for being with me. It really means
For
a lot.
all the coping mechanisms. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yes. So
All
we
right.
are almost done. We are basically done with
Signing off.
today's Underrated Heartache. So, dear audience, I hope you could connect to Lamia Apu's stories and put down your comments in the description box below. And also check
Yes,
out Lamia
yes.
Apu's podcast because they are amazing. Okay.
Thank you so much, Joyita. You're now, I'm actually feeling like I'm de-exalted.
Okay. So
All right.
yes, before ending, stay tuned with my channel. Keep exploring
Bye.
life and stay cool. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. All